So the very beginnings of the idea came from some other work that Hannah and I had been doing alongside various groups who work with family and childhood homelessness. And then the wonderful Jo Spurling from B Squad in Manchester came to us with this strange but really powerful comparison about the kind of legislation there is around looking after the fair looking after of badgers and what happens for human beings and how those things are different. And we thought, oh, maybe there's a story in there about badgers and children and how they might coexist but also have different forces looking out for them.
So the issue of children experiencing homelessness is huge and it's getting bigger and bigger all the time. Currently there's about 164,000 children living in temporary accommodation in England, which we spoke to the youth company about. And just trying to get your head around that figure is a little bit challenging. So we talked about the idea of it being the equivalent of 5,500 classrooms full of children. We talked about the idea of it being something like 273 Garsington operas full. It's just a big number. And if you just see the big number on paper, sometimes we become a bit numb to figures, I think, and we become a bit desensitised to anything that we read, actually. And numbers particularly, so we were just trying to visualise that in our heads.
I think it's really important to say that it would not have been possible for Hazel and I to write this piece without the work that we had done with Sound Voice several years ago and without the relationships that we had and also the trust that we had from those partners. So that's been really special to then bring to Garsington.
I think a really important theme that I wanted to communicate, and this came through loud and clear through working with Jo Spurling from B Squad and also talking to people who work in housing at Buckinghamshire County Council and also charities that work with people living in homelessness here in Buckinghamshire, is that homelessness is something that could impact us much more quickly than we might like to imagine. And so it was really important to everyone that Grace was a person who was working really hard. She works, she's in employment, and circumstances out of her control mean that she can't keep her and her son housed, and the kind of support that is available for them is a lot less than we might like to think. And I really wanted to tell a story in which Grace and Brock and their humanity was at the centre of it.
I was straight away, before I started writing this, I thought, right, I can make a badger. What's this badger theme going to be? And of course, the letters of badger, you can spell them out on the musical stave. So I was playing around with being quite strict about using B-A-D-G-E-R. And so there is that musical theme which goes all the way through the piece. You hear right at the start. And continues all the way through. Every single time there are badgers that come, but also their theme is really woven in with this idea of dawn breaking and newness, if you like. But they also have a real sassy edge to them, these badgers. Brock is always quite impulsive in their music, but also has a real tenderness and a real depth of emotional intelligence. Grace, I just wanted to write music that was going to really touch the audience, really convey this emotional tension where she just wants to do the best for her child.
So I think this project is really important for the young people taking part in it because it's about children and young people, and they are the children and young people. And it's a big issue that it would be great for them to understand because there might be sat-side people at school who are going through this. So just having that awareness and understanding is really great. And I sometimes think, actually, we need to hear more from the children. And I think the power is in children, advocating for children. And we said that this morning, that you are a voice for the 164,000 children going through this. So have that in mind when you're performing. And I think that's really empowering for the young people here. And they might be the ones in the future that actually come up with some of the great acts. Children often come up with better ideas than adults, I think.